It's prediction time. What can you expect out of the 2023 Canadian housing market? Well, if 2022 is any indication at all, we know for sure that, well, we know nothing for sure. But this is a real estate channel, and I am a real estate agent here in Surrey, BC. So today I'm going to share with you my 2023 predictions for my market here in the Fraser Valley. And all I ask in exchange is that you subscribe to the channel so in a year from now you can come back and laugh at how wrong these predictions are about to be. And if you need help in Surrey over the coming 12 months, go ahead and book a call with me right now using the link in the description below. Because, well, this is not real estate advice. And the only way I can give you real estate advice about your market and your situation is if you hire me to represent you in a purchase or sale. But right now you're here for predictions and a little bit of fun, because these predictions are only likely what I think are going to be most likely. Prediction number one is that we will see much more measured interest rate adjustments from the Bank of Canada. The low interest rates we saw were not normal, and the rapidly increasing interest rates that we've seen over the last little bit as well have also not been normal. And now that we have interest rates up to a much more reasonable level where we would expect them to be for a longer period of time, I think the Bank of Canada is going to return to their normal trend of increasing or decreasing interest rates by only a quarter point at a time. And in fact, I think that it's a very low likelihood that we see any more 75 point or 1% swings. There's a very small chance that we will see more 0.5% adjustments, and there's a very high likelihood that rates will change on a much more gradual scale like they should have in the past. But in the event that inflation does persist, the BOC has 8 scheduled announcements set for 2023. And that means if the economy keeps chugging along and the rate hikes right along with them, then yes, even then we might see 2% higher rates at this time next year. But if I had to go out on a limb and bet my money on the Bank of Canada's overnight rate, I would suggest that it likely will not increase past 5% in 2023. But it is pretty stupid to try and guess where interest rates will be in the future because, well, honestly, if inflation does tick back up like it did in the 1980s, they could double from here. But these predictions are all about what is most likely given the information that we have right now. And prediction number 2 is that, yes, it's most likely prices will continue to decrease for the foreseeable future. Now, that statement, given current market conditions, is an obvious one, but let me elaborate. You see, we often see a decrease of 10% in prices for every 1% interest rate increase. So far, the Bank of Canada has increased rates 4% this last year, and as a result, we're seeing close to a 40% drop in some detached home markets like Abbotsford and Mission. But the good news is that if we see rates stop going up and, well, we just see them hold for a while, well, I think prices will bottom out within the following 6 months after that last rate hike. So if some people are right about future increases coming in both January and March, there is a possibility that prices could bottom out by mid to late summer, or maybe into October. Unless, of course, you have inflation ramp up again, and if that happens, well, the market could see even higher rates. And that fact threatens to have all pandemic gains wiped out. And yes, the detached home market could even head back south of the $1 million mark in my market of Surrey. Prediction number 3 is in a place that I'm not a specialist in because, well, my real estate license here in BC does not cover rentals. But that being said, I think we are going to start to see some stability come to the rental market. Rental prices skyrocketed in 2022 to the tune of 20%. However, with every increase, just like the housing resale market, the market will for sure find a new ceiling for a while at some point. For example, my investment property rented out in 2021 for $2,100 a month. Just this last summer, we've seen other units rent in the same complex for upwards of $2,500 per month. And I'm not going to be shocked in 2023 if I start seeing rentals in that area drop by a little bit, maybe into the $2,400 range. Because let's face it, as we see prices come down on the resale side of the market, that will tempt many people into purchasing and therefore hopefully easing some of the rental prices as people shift back out of the rental market and into the new, more affordable housing market.
Affordable. Right.
So if you're an investor out there, make sure you run the numbers with a little bit lower rent than you think you might actually get because, well, you never know. Number 4 on my list is kind of out of left field, but I'm going to address it. And that is the fact that I don't think we're going to see the massive wave of foreclosures that, well, everyone in the comments is hoping for. Over the last 2 to 3 years, foreclosures have been, well, basically nil. But back when I started in the business, they were upwards of 5% of the total listings on the market at any given time. Will we see foreclosures rise? Well, of course we will. But at this point, they could 5x and we would still only return to normal levels. And look, most people still have plenty of equity in their homes. So if they're in trouble because of new higher interest rates and they can't afford to pay because, well, they've never received a raise or are unable to sacrifice other things like their large car payments, most of those people can still just sell with plenty of profits and move into either a rental or a smaller property. Now, if you are one of the doomers out there that is hoping for foreclosures to start flooding to the marketplace because you want to take advantage of one of those super risky purchases, I'm going to let you know I do think they could be coming, but they won't be coming in 2023. Because for the people to be in threat of foreclosure, they have to not only be unable to pay their mortgage, but they also usually have to be in a negative equity position. So if you're looking for a foreclosure, I think you'll be waiting into 2025 or later. And then even at that point, most foreclosures are 6 to 12 months in the future before they come to the market because the process takes a long, long time. So save your pennies, doomers, because 2027 might be your year. On top of that, dealing with foreclosures and bankruptcies as often as I do, right now, banks and creditors like the CRA, well, they're almost hands off at this time of year, and there's very little appetite for foreclosure in this current economic condition. And sure, the banks will proceed, but currently, the CRA is barely collecting. And those same banks that, well, are owed all of that money, they're now looking at 40-year amortization refinances to help people stay in their homes if things get rough. And my prediction number 5, well, it's barely a prediction anymore because I think it's been on my prediction list as long as I've been doing them. And that is that inventory levels in the market will remain low and keep the market propped up maybe a little bit more than it should be. People are starting to just hold on to their homes because, well, nobody wants to sell for less than their neighbor did. And currently, if the market stinks, things like the new strata rental rules will allow many homeowners to just keep their properties until they see sale prices back where they want them to be. And of course, there's always the fact that the government is shooting to let in another 465,000 new Canadians again next year, all while at the exact same time we continue to build fewer and only more expensive homes. And while there will be a very small chance that in my market of the Fraser Valley, that we'll see something in the 8,000 to 10,000 listing range. And just so you know, a normal market at this point is 6,000 listings. When we started 2022, we were only a hair over 1,300 listings. And as of recording this video today, we currently sit at 4,507 listings, and that number is dropping. So make sure you come back in 12 months to see if I was right, or go ahead and comment right now to tell me how wrong you think I'm going to be. Thank you so much for subscribing and clicking the like button. We'll see you in a couple of days.